Someone is telling secrets tonight about Chicago politics. Fresh from prison, former city clerk Jim Laski publishing a tell-all book. He lashes out at what he calls the greed, corruption, and paranoia at City Hall. He admits that he was part of that. But as you hear it exclusively in my story tonight, he says other big names are too.
My father was a ghost payroller.
Jim Laski comes clean. Free after nearly 2 years in prison, the former Chicago city clerk even outs his father in a new book that does name names.
A lot of things went on.
What's alleged in the indictment is naked bribery.
It wasn't long ago that Laski left town as the highest-ranking elected city official to go to prison for taking kickbacks in the hired truck scandal. Fox News Chicago was there exclusively in August as he traveled by Greyhound from federal prison to his Chicago halfway house. Then, there Friday, after he signed his freedom papers.
There it is.
And at his home, when an advance copy of his new book arrived at the door. My Fall from Grace, City Hall to Prison Walls. 400 pages of apologies, admissions, and Chicago political scandal.
Was it worth the $48,000?
No, absolutely not. To lose it all, to lose respect in the community.
In his book, Laski admits to a lot we've always thought about Chicago politics: dead people voting and a worried Mayor Daley.
He always told me to have a buffer.
Laski writes, Mayor Daley once asked if he knew whether the feds were watching them, that Laski must have a buffer.
He said, I always have a buffer between you and everybody else. I always have that wall between the press and the people down the street, and so you keep you out of trouble.
Laski targets his former mentor, former Alderman and Congressman Bill Lipinski, that Laski forged signatures and altered absentee ballots for him in Lipinski's 23rd Ward.
So you guys would not only forge signatures, but you'd even take a look at absentee ballots, and would you guys cut and paste too if it wasn't the right?
Chads were pasted. And
If it wasn't the right guy, you'd move it to the right?
Sure.
Really? Chicago way.
Chicago way.
Laski's book even talks about the federal prosecutor who brought him down. Patrick Collins remembers the day he finally got Laski cornered, armed with a tape from a wire Laski's best friend wore for the feds.
I recall that we had some CDs to play for him. It was almost, internally we called it the greatest hits, because Mr. Laski had been recorded on a number of occasions.
For Laski, who had designs on the state treasurer's office, even the mayor's office, prison was a crushing experience.
Jim Laski's human. Jim Laski doesn't walk on water, and Jim Laski made mistakes. But it's time to say, okay, Jim Laski wants to get on with his life now, so maybe we should, let him do that.
Tonight, the mayor's spokesperson told us Mr. Laski didn't have kind things to say about the mayor before he was incarcerated. I find it hard to believe that coming out of prison, he's going to have nice things to say about Mr. Daley then. The spokesperson also said Mr. Laski is trying to sell a book. Former Congressman Bill Lipinski did not return our phone calls for the story.